I'm stuck inside, going borderline crazy. It's just me and my mind. Sometimes I think he hates me. I've been trying to find some sort of constant entertainment every day beyond some rainy day shit. I've been getting faded, trying to kick back, get back to basics. All around me. Rapcast episode 8. Maybe?
Number 8.
We're back. I'm Andrew, aka Young Jizz, aka Bluebeard. To my right, as always,
Alex, aka Buddy Alex, aka Better Than You, bitch.
And to my left is Josh, aka J Pasty, aka PJ Martian. And we're
aka AK 47,
shit.
that is. The gun.
AK-47, the gun.
The actual gun.
Okay.
That would be actually a pretty good rap name. AK-47, the firearm holder.
I don't know if you're getting away with that one. No. You've ruined it now.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
We have an AK somewhere. Fucking
so yeah, it's white girl autumn out here. I dressed in some light ochre shades. This is sort of an All Lives Matter sweater. You know, because you got all the different skin tones. The point is,
off to a great start here on the
we're all
episode.
Equal.
Rapcast. We're gonna talk about concerts and shit. Concerts that we've been to, rap shows that we've been to, worst and best. We're also gonna talk about new music later on, including 21 Savage project. And we'll also kind of just go through some quick other little rap news that has happened in the past 2 weeks or so.
Yeah.
So not really a one rapper focused episode this time.
Yeah, no, we're not going to talk about...
No, focusing on one rapper for a whole episode is kind of sus anyway. I mean, this rapper's not my boyfriend or anything.
Yeah, no. Well, Big Sean is kind of... Well,
yeah, you're right. Me and Big Sean have a complicated relationship.
You're in bed. Let's say you're at least in bed with him. To an extent.
As in
you could say that. You could say that.
I just did.
I mean, I wouldn't be saying stuff like that about me anymore, okay? Because some business...
Because it's White Girl Autumn.
Yeah, right. It's White Girl Autumn out here, so we're talking about concerts. Oh my god. I went to this concert...
remember that time when we can go to concert?
Yeah, so...
Such a great time.
First of all, R.I.P. live music venues.
Yeah.
Every day we weep that we can't be standing around in a packed, you know,
insanely too hot.
Yeah.
They sold too many tickets venue. When there's no water available and drinks are extremely expensive. And you're popping Molly, and you don't know what the fuck it is.
Yeah, it's like popping Molly, I'm sweating.
Yeah, you said it, buddy.
And, yeah, we've been through it all, as far as concert goers.
Yep.
Rap shows. Started off more with rock shows.
Oh, yeah.
Let's start off this conversation with the rock era of concerts. Best and worst memories.
All right.
Because recently I've been listening to 3 Days Grace a lot.
Okay, all right. No, that's a good...
And it made me think about how you went and saw 3 Days Grace with your mom or something.
I saw him with my dad. I dragged him to the show. I had three tests the next day. I failed all of them. And he's a teacher. And he was like, you shouldn't go to this show. I'm like, I will, and you're coming with me. To be fair, it was one of the last times they performed with the lead singer still being there. And then they got the lead singer from... My Darkest Days.
Oh, so that was kind of the end of...
So yeah, that was towards the end of their...
3 Days
I saw
Grace.
them in like November, and then the dude left in like January.
Wow.
But I'm glad I got to see them at least once in my fucking like emo 13-year-old, 14-year-old phase.
I mean, because I was listening to I Hate Everything About You. Why do I love you?
That's still a good
song. And that song's hard as fuck.
I still have a few 3 Days Grace songs on my phone. There's still
because it made me think about how whatever XXS Tentacion and Juice WRLD and them or shit like have listed 3 Days Grace as one of their major influences, and it's kind of weird to think about because they got so brushed away as like a fad from the early 2000s
Yeah.
emo phase, but like
It
some of their
wasn't
music
really
still
that big.
endures. I mean, it's pretty.
We've talked about doing a Green Day scattered trap kind of cover song. We should do an I Hate Everything About You cover too. Just a
I mean,
thought
it's
out.
surprising people haven't done that yet.
Yeah, no.
Copyright that. Copyright.
Yeah, no, you can't do it.
Superfinger.
SF, Fanny Pack,
TM.
just list list everything that we've done.
The party part 1, the party part 2.
Episode 16, not playing. Episode 15, I don't remember what it's called. Beard War. First rock shows that we went to were like Blue Rodeo and Jim Cuddy because our parents dragged us to them. They drugged us. They drugged us and took
At
us
the
to the
Jim
concert.
Cuddy show.
Yeah,
Damn.
we were
got
popping.
cold. Yo, we got
Oh my
fucked
god,
up, man.
yo, the
Jim
amount of
Cuddy.
stories, bro.
We ended up sneaking backstage and shit because we were so fucked up.
Oh man, just a bunch of little kids just high off life and edibles.
Yeah, I think my first
Saying,
concert.
Life is a highway.
Oh yeah, it is, baby.
That's Tom Cochran, man.
Exactly.
Yeah, Canadian legends
That's
getting
the
them
only.
confused.
By the way, that's the only. Like, I loved that song when I was a kid, and that was the only way they could get me to go to the show because, like, oh, that guy wrote that song, and
Nope.
like, it's like you fucking liars.
Yeah, no.
Wow.
But the
deception.
first real show that I went to was Finger 11. That was the one I'm like, I'm
Yes.
going to see it. It was in Hamilton,
Yeah.
and it was good.
My first concert was that I went to alone. Well, not like with someone else. Like my parents' supervision was like, I think it was just the Sound Music Festival.
Yeah, you just went down there.
And we would just watch, me and like my buddy James Horseman watch like like an AC/DC cover band and like a bunch of different like classic rock cover bands. Mm-hmm. And then that was on the one side, and then Faber Drive was on the opposite side of the.
I don't know if I know Faber Drive.
That was where like they're like an emo band from Canada or whatever, and that was like we went and walked over and on that side just to like gawk at everybody, but like really we were there to watch the cover bands, but.
I mean,
still, it was pretty sick.
All of us have been like to Sound of Music so much, like every year, that I feel like that really chalked up like a number of like I feel like half the concerts that we've been to.
Yeah, shout out to Sound of Music Festival, Burlington, Mayor Marianne Mead Ward.
I applied
put us on, man.
I applied this year to get on, and I'm just gonna assume that because it got canceled, I never got a response back, but.
I will be emailing
I'm
my
going to be
congressman.
applying again and again and again until I get in. We get in, by the way.
Yeah. And it's all, one for all and all for one. Okay? Burlington.
Take us all.
And that's a threat.
And the last show that me and Josh went to ever, because we're never going to go to see another concert again, simply,
it's over.
Was Colorado. And that was like the 6th time I've seen them, because it was their last ever show in Toronto.
That was a great show.
It was a great show.
The second last show,
Yeah, second last show ever. So, shout out them.
Colorado, great Ottawa band.
Yep. Best show, if we're talking about best rock show, because I don't want to spend too much time on the rock stuff because we are a Rapcast.
I mean, this is not a rock cast.
I just want to get to like the best and the worst, first and the last, best and worst,
and just the things you learned about concert going in those early years. You know.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I think the first like the major one that like really struck out to me like the first time was going to see Roger Waters' The Wall in Rogers Stadium.
Oh yeah, I remember you telling me about
that.
that.
Was like a mind-blowing experience. That was like a show. That wasn't just a concert. That was like a spectacle. And you know, like seeing like, because I'm a huge rock guy. That's no secret. You know, just like also seeing Lord as well at Echo Beach. That was a great show because
oh yeah, Lord at
Echo Beach, baby. I remember that show.
I remember being like, bro, you got to bring a chick down there.
And he brought me.
Yeah,
but he brought Andrew.
That was actually a really really good show because like we got super close. It felt like really.
It was just weird being
really cool.
with the crowd. At this point, I'd already seen a rap show or two, but it was weird being in a crowd like that of where we just don't belong, really.
Yes.
Because it was just surrounded by a bunch of 14, 13-year-old girls that were like smoking for the first time ever. Because like, oh, I like Lord and I'm edgy and we're wearing the same makeup as her and shit. We're just like, oh, this is kind of just a weird vibe.
Lord was a moment, man. Like 20, whatever, 13.
20, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, how old were we when we were 16? Because she and us were like, we're all 96.
But that brings up an interesting thing of like concerts you've been to where there was a whole stage show and a whole that whole other aspect of the live performance where
that's why I brought up Lord and Roger Waters,
where there's just all the like crazy lights and all that other aspect is like something that you forget about the live music experience. But you kind of have to learn how to do it properly and not have it just the only good thing about the show was just the actual fucking lights and shit. Because I remember I'm gonna get fucking ostracized. I saw Nickelback live. I mean, Nickelback is hard. We got to be able to say that on the podcast.
It was at ACC. I was with my mom, and I'm looking back at it. I'm like, I can't listen to any Nickelback really. But I'm looking back at the show. I'm like, you know what? They had some really cool effects and stage shit, and they had a whole thing where like a separate mini stage came down and took them like across the fucking room, and then like down and across.
Didn't Kanye do that?
Nickelback was first though.
So who's the real innovator?
Yeah, sorry guys.
But yeah, Kanye did that when I went to see Kanye, which
I'm still jealous about that one, but
there was a floating stage that went around like the middle of the ACC.
Well, at that point there wasn't an actual the stage was always above ground. There was no actual stage, and then he went up and around. He was just always just in the fucking sky, kind of thing. Or was there a point where he was just on an actual regular stage?
No, he spent the whole time on the floating stage. Yep. And then that's another one where there's all kinds of crazy theatrics to the show, including the part near the end of the concert where Kanye just has the same beat play over while he kind of does a little rant / mini song /
That was for the Life of Pablo tour?
Yeah, because it's the Life of Pablo tour.
That was the last big tour he went on.
And then it ended with this crazy thing of where it was like he was fucking ascending to heaven or some shit. Like the stage was like, I think it was moving from the one side all the way to the other very slowly. And he was kneeling, and as the thing disappeared and the music kept playing of some heaven shit.
Yeah.
But I think there was a bit of a malfunction because it kind of was us all standing around what? Is it over? Is there going to be an encore?
Oh man.
But I think there was already I'm not sure how the encore situation. I forgot, but whatever. The point is, sometimes all that stage technology shit improves it a lot, and other times, it's kind of people are just looking around and going what? Yo, get off the stage! Just
you gotta really have both, I think.
Yeah. In terms of, I actually have a list of every show I've been to because I'm autistic. And probably my favorite rock show that I saw was at Sound of Music, and that was a big part of it too because I was with all my homies. We were volunteering there for fucking high school to get our high school hours. And Finger 11, Collective Soul, Our Lady Peace, and Weezer were playing for the paid show.
That's right.
So we didn't sneak in, but we volunteered just to get into the show so we can see them for free, so we didn't have to pay fucking $70 or whatever to fucking see them. And that was just such a fucking
perfect
great
crime. All I have to do
is volunteer
8 hours
legally.
Free labor.
But yeah, that whole weekend was a whole trip. Just fucking staying up all night with the homies and fucking that's the thing is that's more so my favorite because of the whole experience around it more so than just the actual concert, which is another thing that we have to take into consideration when we talk about this stuff.
Did we see USS that year too?
No.
Okay. No,
but,
that's Colorado.
But shout out USS as well because USS has put on some great shows.
Yeah, USS the 3 times that they played Sound of Music or whatever, have gotten better and better.
I've seen them 3 or 4 times, and I'd keep seeing them because they put on a great show.
Their last show at Sound of Music Festival, when all of us were there, and just chilling and stuff like that, was crazy fun. That was so great.
That's probably my number one from that Sound of Music rock era of concerts as well. And that was I think the year when I was in grade 12, and it was the graduating, and we had just come home from doing all that shit.
It was the first weekend of summer.
Yeah,
And we saw fucking USS.
And I definitely had a lot of fun. That song, Every Day was in a million ways.
Yeah, that one.
I remember everyone getting super into that one.
To me, to me, even like in summers past, like recently, I remember just thinking back to that moment. I'm like, all right, that's peak summer, right? That's kind of what I want to try to achieve.
That's kind of what the summer's all about. Yeah,
that's what I kind of want to achieve throughout summer. Is just that fucking.
I remember seeing this like super tall guy that I recognized from high school. Like
there was
just
one really tall guy in front of us.
And just was kind of seeing him go nuts to that song was just funny. Like, I was like, holy shit, that guy's... Yeah.
Going for it.
This is the best as well as always just...
That one, that song like just came out, I think, at that point, that too.
Yeah, I mean, the whole summer was about that song. This is the best.
Yeah, that was... that was great.
And I think one more thing on Sound of Music Festival, I think the year prior to that... was we saw Down with Webster.
I didn't. I didn't see them, but
I got a picture with the Down with Webster guys.
Yeah.
Nice.
And my brother Paul shows up during the concert.
Yeah.
And
I think I remember this story.
Yeah, I can't remember he somehow ended up with the hat of like some girl in my class. He ended up with her hat, threw the hat up on stage. And the Down with Webster guy put the hat on and threw it to some other person, and then I don't know. There was some whole I forget the whole point of the story.
The point is now you're cool. Your whole family's cool with Down with Webster.
Yeah,
they're down with Webster.
Yeah,
but that's a really inside Canada reference is to say Down with Webster because really, I mean, outside of the GTA, I don't think.
Are they a Canadian band?
They've got to be. You can't play Sound of Music Festival.
No, you can. Fucking Weezer.
Yeah, but like that was like the paid show.
Yeah, they started from like a talent show in like fucking...
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oshawa, probably.
The point is that Headley is canceled and I couldn't be happier.
Yes.
Okay. So anyway, at some point we started to get into rock shows, or rap shows.
Yeah.
The first one for me was Childish Gambino.
Me as well.
Yeah, what was that venue called?
It was called the Phoenix. At that point it was the Phoenix, but now it's called the Rebel.
Which is one of my favorite venues in Toronto.
Great venue. It's kind of shitty because it's out there, so you have to like take a bus to get there and back.
Yeah,
which is the only kind of shitty part about
true.
it. But overall, the venue's
not the most convenient place.
Yeah,
and it's kind of like sketchy when you come out of there. Like, shit, I gotta get to that bus station before the last one.
Exactly.
I gotta get the last train back to.
As soon as you get out, you're like, oh shit, my life isn't just this perfect moment concert experience. I have to get home or else I'll be stuck out here. Yeah. And that's the first rap concert we went to. That was 2014, March. I remember it was March, and I think it was still like my favorite rap show that I've been to. It might be some bias because it was the first show I've been to, but because The Internet is also one of my favorite rap albums of all time, so that also it was for that tour, so that also plays into it. And just I remember that feeling of when he first came out to Crawl and just. When everyone jumped up and down at the same time, and I wasn't on the ground anymore.
Yeah, and we were literally like levitating, like the whole crowd jumping at the same time.
And everyone like rushed forward at the same time, and you just get fucking carried. You're just like a school of fish, just fucking just carried with everyone like what?
Like a wave, right?
Yeah, and we weren't touching the ground, and I was like, okay, this is a fucking thing that I haven't experienced in any rock concert before. So it was to me a new experience, and I dancing remember that shit.
Or just the way that people move to the music is slightly different at a rap show. That's kind of what I started to notice. But I mean, Childish Gambino is sort of a mix of everything. It's not like pure hip hop.
No, yeah.
Either. So
and he had that sick fucking it was annoying now, but that was the other thing about rap shows that I first learned is that rappers never show up on time. Rock artists usually do. Gambino was like an hour and a half, almost 2 hours late to his show.
Remember when we went to saw Green Day and they literally came out like the moment it turned like 9
the moment they said they were going to come out, they came out.
Rap, not so much.
Yeah, no, Gambino we had to wait for like an hour and a half, but he did have like the app or whatever. Remember he had like an interactive thing so you could like draw and shit on it and like text message shit, and then like sometimes Gambino would pop up in there saying, "Hey, I'm running late, I'll be there in like 10 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever." Like that was such a cool that's just such a cool thing to have.
That was I mean I remember the anticipation and everyone being like Roscoe's wetsuit.
Yeah. World star was
people were just drawing dicks on that thing for the most part.
Yeah. Of course.
Which was
that's
funny.
because of the internet, bro. And just that whole, again, back to the whole, like, spectacle of shows. Like, that show was so incredible, too, for that shit. Like, he had the whole set in the back for, like, the first half, and there were a bunch of people, just random people on stage, and we're like, how the fuck did they get on the stage? And then during the party song, when he kicks everyone out in the song, he kicked everyone out on stage. So he incorporated that into it. And he had that, like, screen that, like, came down a few times and had, like, crazy effects and, like, rain shit was, like, going through it at some point and shit, and it was insane for effects.
Yeah, it was a great show.
It was a perfect mix of music and effects, and first rap show, so it always holds a near and dear spot for me.
Yeah, at that same venue, I would see in later years Mac Miller.
Yep,
that was another great show.
Glad we got to see
that. That was one where it was, I think, near the end of his tour, and his voice was hella raspy.
It was the last show of the tour.
Yeah, but it was just good to see, like, damn, this guy's really putting the work in.
Yeah.
Sure, I'm getting a little... like, I wasn't pissed at all. It kind of gave me more respect for him, like, just how hard this guy's working.
Yeah. I remember it was also a weird show, because we both went, but with separate groups. You went with your group of friends, and I went with my buddy Adam. But which was funny, because it was like kind of first when we started, me and him both started smoking weed, and we brought some to the show, and we were going to smoke. We had these little one-hitters or whatever.
Yeah.
And he had the weed in his bag, and then we were about to walk in, and he's like, no, I can't do this, man, I can't do this, and dumps all of the weed, and it was my weed. And there was at least like 2 grams of weed, at least. Like, pretty sizable nugs. And he just dumped it on the fucking ground, and we didn't smoke anything. But there were some people smoking around us. I got a few hits from other people, but I just remember that. So that was a show. Fuck you.
That was a show where I got screwed as far as weed too, because we rolled a couple of joints beforehand and put them all in a cigarette pack.
Yeah.
Thinking that I mean, they would never check inside the cigarettes.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I just remember like okay, here we go, 1, 2, 3, and just like disposing of them and being like, man, that's like
I think for
$25 worth of weed right there.
I think for that show too, that I brought in my camcorder, and they took it, and I didn't know if I was going to get it back. That was the first time they took my shit, and I'm like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? And we had video of us doing, like, fucking one of our old videos on it, so they could tell it was me afterwards, because there wasn't any physical proof that it was my camera, aside from the fact that my face was on the camera.
Oh, wow.
So I got lucky. Yeah.
Could have been fucking over for us.
But, that's a tip to you kids out there that are, actually, you know what, well, concerts aren't coming back, but the point is, you put the weed in your shoe.
That's the lesson we learned eventually.
Like, make some joints or get a one-hitter or something, and you put them in your shoe before you get in line. And then once you go there, go to the bathroom, or just, if it's an outdoor venue, you could probably be safe to just take it out.
Yeah.
Oh, but, yeah.
We've got screwed for concerts for weed before, though, because we saw Brockhampton, me and you, before Amir got kicked out, before Saturation 3 even.
Yeah, during the
Saturation 2 tour.
Yeah. That's, like, I'll say that like, that's the one thing that I, like, regret, is, like, not seeing them
during that time.
Not going with you
because there's some songs on that they played on that during that tour that they'll never play again. But it did kind of suck because, one, we weren't in, like, the pit part, which also completely sucks for rap shows if you're not, like, in the pit, unless it's, like, a huge grandiose thing like Gambino or whatever. Like, for Brockhampton, for a smaller show like that, you want to be in the pit, because we were up in the balcony, and it was a legendary fucking Toronto theater, fucking, it was where we saw Colorado last show.
Danforth?
Yeah, it's Danforth. It was Danforth Music Hall.
The Danforth Music Hall.
And,
great venues.
But it was just, they were
it was really crowded and full of, teenagers when we were there. I remember buying the sweater beforehand, and they only had, like one...
Yours was too small, and mine was too big, is what ended up happening.
You got a shirt that's too big.
Yeah, I mean, you wanted to switch, and I'm like, no. But I probably should have switched in hindsight.
Man.
I find the, being in the pit is more vital to rap than it is to rock concerts.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because, like, I remember seeing
because of moshing. Basically, is the main part.
Yeah, I remember.
But if you're at a show that moshing doesn't really.
But rock, but there's moshing and rock.
Yeah.
But more just punk and metal.
Because I saw a good example was I saw Billy Talent with you one time for the Dead Silence tour at ACC. Good show, but you kind of want to be really in it, Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember there was a kid beside us that was like one of these like drum guys
he was
who
doing
was,
all
the
entire time. Yeah.
And also at that concert, you were filming, and there was a drunk guy who
broke
fucking
my back.
fell on you.
That was the start of my back problem escapades. 2 rows up, this drunk guy falls just straight up onto my fucking back and spills beer on my fucking Billy Talent poster that I just fucking bought. And I remember going back to my parents that night. I'm like, I'm never fucking getting drunk in my life. And here we are. But back to the point I was trying to make was that I saw Billy Talent again for their tour for whatever album was after that with my buddy Anthony, but it was an outdoor show and it was on the grass. And it was
way
so much better. Like, every song we were fucking going off. Like, it was so much better of an experience.
I find outdoor shows to be really, like, their own vibe. Like,
it's different, though, because if it's in the middle of the day, though, it's not as... Actually, well, no, USS was in the middle of the day, too. I guess it's more so Anthony's perspective of that he's kind of tried to force onto me is that shows that during the day, when it's really hot out, aren't as good as outdoor shows that are towards the night. But I don't know if
that's
fully,
true.
Yeah, I don't know if I
depends if you're in
fully,
mosquito season.
Yeah, true.
Might not be the best.
Yeah, especially if you're down by fucking Sound of Music, down by the lake, then you're gonna get absolutely.
But I mean, Billy Talent is a great.
Yeah, we were
live.
They're great live show. Yeah.
But that's
I can't really last show like that I was at with like the big theater kind of experience was Brockhampton, and even then I just wished. The whole time I'm like, fuck, I wish we could have been down.
Yeah, with Brockhampton for me, also that situation was like, I brought weed in, but like it was not the right place to smoke weed.
No, because they kept saying like, if you have any sort of drugs, you'll be kicked out immediately. They were so fucking strict on it.
And one of the things was like, we were standing in like the front row of like the balcony.
Yeah. And the security kept walking back and forth,
kept
ruining our
around,
view.
And I think I saw one of the security guards at one point being like, yeah, like looking at people like, oh yeah, kids, come on, get your dances going.
Yeah.
And that just like made me feel like
such a boomer at that moment.
Damn, and I just couldn't get into it. Like, and I was thinking about the whole. It's a lot of the times with concerts, there's something about just the social thing where I'm just thinking about something else the whole time, or it's just some of the times I've had edibles before shows and just gone like too crazy. Got too
fucking that Tyler the Creator Vince Staples show when they went on tour together was such an experience because it was me, you, and my buddy Anthony who went, and you took like how many edibles? You took like 8 edibles or something like that beforehand.
Yeah, I was eating them like mad. Like I was eating them on the train, and then like
right before I was line, just like, all right, I'm just gonna have the rest. Like, you had like 8 edibles. I had like
you mad lad.
I had like a heroic dose of edibles.
I had like 4, which is I could never do 4 ever again. I can barely do 1 now, so I did 4, and I'm surprised that I was as coherent as I was. And Anthony did 1, but that was the first time that he ever did it, so he was fucking gone. And I just remember at a point we were in
trying
there.
To get our seats.
We tried to get
to
the seats, but we couldn't find them, and we were all so fucking stoned that we didn't know what the fuck to do. We were like gonna go ask someone, but none of us wanted to ask. I remember I had to just take charge.
Yeah, you had to take
charge. Both of you were just way too high.
I was like, I cannot I can't talk to these people that are sitting in our seats.
Yeah, so we had to go up, and we were like, oh, I think we're... And then we had to talk to like these 2 girls, or these 3 girls that were like, oh, I'm sorry, I think you're in our seats, and they immediately left and didn't argue at all, which means they for sure were in our seats trying to get better spots. Yeah. But our spots weren't even that good anyway. It was like we were up in like the kind of like the stands at fucking the Ricoh Coliseum or whatever in Toronto. So it wasn't like that great seats, but it was still a good show. But like we were all so fucking stoned, and it was kind of we had the whole time. I think
even Tyler the Creator noticed, like, because I remember at one point in the concert, like pointing over to the balcony and like, oh, you guys all look fucking mad, like you're not sitting in the and he was right. Like we were kind of.
But also,
the whole vibe of that whole area was kind of fucked.
Because it was also a mixed vibe of fans that fucked with the only old Tyler, fans who fucked with only new Tyler, and fans like us who fucked with both. But we're too stoned to really fuck with anything.
Staples.
And also Vince Staples fans,
when Vince Staples opened for them, there was a lot of white girls in the audience who were mainly into new Tyler, the Creator, who were like...
And white dudes.
This was Flower
Boy. Yeah, Flower Boy concert. And white dudes wearing fucking flannel button-downs or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, who were like not vibing to the Vince Staples at all. And it was kind of ruining it a little bit. I was like, man, I wish I was just with all the fellas right now. Just like, I was up late night balling. Yeah. And just like...
Yeah.
That's not... The music just totally didn't fit the Flower Boy era Tyler
it was definitely...
vibe.
Yeah, I remember us talking about that, too, of just how afterwards the concert was just so interesting in terms of the mix of audience.
Because you're either singing along with the fellas or the white chicks, you know?
Yeah, or both. Like...
Yeah.
It was very strange. I'm definitely glad that we saw Vince Staples, though, before that. Because I remember that was a great show when we saw him, because that's when I used to live in Toronto, like 10 minutes away. I guess I still live pretty close.
That's one of my favorite concerts, Vince Staples.
I lived literally a 5-minute walk from...
Where was that venue, you know? What's it called? It was like the something amphitheater or something.
Man. I'm going to look it up. But I've seen a few shows there. Mostly... I think
it's more of a punk venue,
it was,
right?
Yeah, I saw mostly like rock shows there, but we saw Vince there and it was great.
Yeah, that was one where...
I remember us like preening and shit beforehand and just not even have to worry about anything because we were just getting drunk and stoned in our apartment, like fucking like hotboxing the bathroom. Like,
yeah, that was really convenient, just as far as... And that was one of those ones where...
Phoenix Concert Theater. So I guess what was the...
That's what I was thinking,
what
too.
the Rebel used to be called then. We got that fucked up.
The Phoenix turned to the...
No, the Phoenix is still the Phoenix.
Whatever. The point is, who gives a fuck about venues?
Yeah.
Literally, who gives a shit?
Yeah, if you're not from Toronto, you're not gonna fucking even know anyway.
But the point is, that was a great concert. That was one of those ones where I snuck the weed in my shoe, and I had some like really shoddily rolled joints that didn't. And then I tried to spark one up, and then immediately security guy came and was just like pointed at the joint, and I just handed it to him and he just walked away. Yeah, and I was like, "Oh, sorry."
Vince has asthma.
The point is, Vince, if you're watching this, like, I'm sorry, I didn't know you had asthma. Like, are we supposed to know that about Vince?
Well, he tweeted it like after we had seen him. Not immediately after, like it wasn't because of our show specifically, but I remember seeing a tweet like years later being like, oh shit, I guess that's right.
And I remember feeling bad about that tweet. Yeah. Like, damn, sorry, Vince. I didn't know.
But then we just immediately...
But that was still a great concert. As far as... That's probably one of the most intense mosh pits I've ever been in.
Yeah, that was crazy.
As far as just the energy was like so crazy.
Yeah, fucking during Blue Suede and shit, like there was like, oh man. Yeah, there was some definite...
Yeah, and just moshing. As far as everyone in the building knowing every word and fucking with the music like to the same level. Because it was
a pretty small venue too, so it was very it was perfect for a concert like that. Really glad we got to see him in that aspect. Someone else I'm fucking so thankful I got to see when I did was Denzel Curry, because he played just at a bar. Like it was so fucking tiny, like literally like a tiny fucking bar.
That was one of those situations
maybe
where
75 people max.
Those are like the really cool concerts where they're actually really intimate.
And there was Taboo had just dropped, like still in one of my favorite fucking rap albums.
Yeah.
But the tour was so fucking tiny and so intimate. And there was points where fucking my roommate that I took with me, Hayden, shout out Hayden, he was on the stage and shit. And he had like asked Denzel just for water, and Denzel just handed him water. Because immediately me and him were together, and then immediately we went our separate ways in the crowd, because the whole thing was a mosh pit, because everyone knew the words. It's such an intimate show, but everyone was, and it's Denzel Curry, so you know it's gonna fucking be crazy. And I remember the whole time, it was a great concert. I remember the whole time though, I'm just like, I'm so fucking dehydrated. All I need is water right now. Because I was pretty drunk already. I was pretty fucking stoned. And we had just done like 2 or 3 Jaeger bombs right before fucking going into the fucking crowd. And immediately I'm just like, I need water. And then the fucking crowd, then the show starts. I'm like, oh fuck, I need water still. But that was an insane show. I'm really glad I saw him then.
Speaking of water, later. The time we went to see Lil Yachty.
Oh yeah. And we were on Molly.
that was the that was a great experience because they did the boat, something called the boat check, or wait, what was it called?
Boat test or something?
Boat test.
Yeah. Where
they handed out everyone water bottles.
I think I still might have that water bottle saved somewhere up here.
Wow. And I sipped from it, and it was fucking key.
Yeah, I do not have that bottle of water. Yeah, but he handed out like so many. Like he wasted so much. And then
at the beat drop, he told everyone to just fucking.
Yeah. And it was so refreshing.
And there was just like water vapor like everywhere.
Yeah, it was so sick.
And it was like, this is like some weird, like, this is like that ad for. There's like some gum ad where it's like some
Taste 5 gum.
5 gum, and it's like all these like water droplets in the air, and it's like.
Yeah. This is what it feels like to chew 5 gum.
Yeah, no, it did. It really was.
And that concert was crazy. There was like some like 10-year-old kid at the concert.
There was a 10-year-old kid
who was just going crazy, and everyone around was like,
it was going crazy on him.
That was fucking hilarious.
That was so great, man.
Like we all wanted to be that kid in that moment.
Yeah, that was the time of his fucking life. Like that was
the peak.
Yeah, that was the peak of his childhood there.
Yeah,
which is crazy at a Yachty concert. We also saw 2 Chainz there a few weeks before that, I think, or like a month before that. Also did Molly on that show, but that was an interesting show because he had broken his leg on that tour, and so he was on a wheelchair. It was for the Pretty Girls Like Trap Music.
Wheelchair, that was swag.
But he had like dancers and shit, so it was pretty well done how he did it.
And it was all just a normal night
until
and then he brought out Drake.
I would have done a mic drop, but we can't really do that.
Drake?
Yeah, we saw Drake, guys. Me and your buddy Alex here, we saw Drake.
Yeah, and we didn't pay $6,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure, he played 2 songs that we didn't recognize and then left. So what, man?
Well, he also brought out Baka.
Baka Not Nice, who I don't really know.
We should also
either.
give him some
yeah,
props.
But I mean, it's kind of sucks because Drake or 2 Chainz did his All Me verse earlier in the show, and then he didn't.
True.
But not for the Drake thing, and then Drake did like 2 songs that we didn't recognize. But the whole crowd, as soon as Drake came out, the whole crowd.
That was another situation where suddenly all this space becomes available in this crowd, and everyone's
we
rushing.
moved up like 10 feet.
And you're like, damn, this was all this space in between us.
I
this whole
didn't know
time, but we didn't.
I thought like people. I thought in that scenario, like maybe the gates. Maybe there was like gates because sometimes there's like gates at shows like that or soming. Maybe they just took the gates down and people rushed the gates or something. Like I don't know what happened.
And it was just
there.
like everyone with their phones, like like that was one of those. Well, yeah, okay. What are our opinions about phones at the concert and people recording too much? Or
I used to record too much. I used to do that all the time and record like my favorite moments and not really even be there for the moment. But I've learned my countless amount of shows that I've been to. I've learned that it's good to maybe get like a little bit so I can stunt on these motherfuckers 100%. And put it on my Instagram to show people that I was there or whatever. But I'm really not going to look at this footage much ever again, really. So I'm not going to record
the thing that
as much as I used to.
The thing that I learned from my concert experiences is there's always going to be somebody else recording it, and it's probably in a better position.
True.
So it's like
better camera quality.
Yeah. Also,
they'll come out with the concert DVD later if you really want to like recreate them.
Also, I want to bring you mentioning that he broke his leg.
2 Chainz broke his leg. Yeah.
I wanted to give a quick shout out to Brian Aubert from Silver Sun Pickups, one of the a great, I think, underrated rock band. The guitarist and singer broke his arm, and he was just he was just getting over a flu, and he fucking killed it. And he was, and it was a great fucking show. Just wanted to give that quick shout out. It was a great show.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to see that. It's like
in
sports when you go to see a game and you see someone really truly step up into a great moment or whatever and overcome adversity, and you can be like, damn, I know what it looks to see a real good hardworking performer that's someone who's a true GOAT.
You can see somebody who's really putting the work in.
I think also
that's why I'm sad I never saw Travis Scott. Just because I know that he's widely respected for having crazy stage show and just work ethic.
The Astro World shit, he had a whole fucking roller coaster and shit.
He's on a mechanical dragon.
Yeah,
I wish I saw that.
That and Kendrick, I wish I saw already because now those shows are just going to be so expensive.
Yeah, I never saw Kendrick.
But even though, like, we could have seen him during the Damn concert or whatever, or during the Damn tour, I'm like, oh, it's so expensive. Not thinking that it's just going to be even more expensive the next time he goes on tour. Like, it's not, unless, maybe 10 years from now, he'll do a, when he's not as prevalent or whatever. I don't know. That's just me wishful thinking, though. Kendrick is someone that I have not seen that I really wish I did during the time.
Same.
Someone else like that, though. I think Gambino had fucked up his leg. I think it was... I don't know if it was before or after we saw him, though, for the second time at the ACC for the This Is America tour. Which is another show that I want to talk about.
That was a great show.
That was a fantastic show, because that was only like a week or so after Mac passed, I remember. And we were both just so down in the dumps. And then for me, at least for me, it wasn't until that show where I'm like, okay, I can start living properly again and like really think.
Wow, I don't even remember.
Well, because I remember he had like a really motivational speech halfway through. Gambino did, and I'm like, damn.
Yeah, I remember being touched by that.
That was really real. Yeah. But overall, that's another show that was equal in terms of music-wise, because he absolutely kills it, and his live vocals are
dancing,
insane,
singing,
but also the effects and
everything,
the dancing and everything about that show was
except that when they played "This Is America," there was audio issues.
There was audio. It was a little too bassy. Yeah. But I think that was a kind of a, from reading just shit about the tour, I think that was kind of a thing throughout the tour, was kind of, they were still working on mixing the fucking song for whatever reason.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's a weird song anyway.
Yeah, but yeah, really glad that was definitely up there for one of my favorite shows too.
Just as far as,
though. Very expensive.
Wrapping up this segment,
Do you want to talk about worst shows though? Are we getting to that?
Yeah, worst show, for me, one of them is, and we talked about this in episode 1, Chance the Rapper at Echo Beach, right?
Yeah.
Or was it Echo Beach?
Yeah.
We were out there standing in the sand.
Francis and the Lights opened.
Francis and the Lights. We were booing.
We don't really know.
Booing him.
We didn't know what was going on.
Chance came on.
Well, there were big red curtains. Like, oh, it's going to be a grandiose moment when they finally open. One of them opens, the other one doesn't. We're waiting another fucking 20, 30 minutes because there were malfunctions for that. And then eventually they just take them down, and it wasn't nearly as
standing.
cool
I remember.
moment.
I do remember us talking to the people around us at one point, talking about Mac Miller, the new Mac Miller
Divine
album,
Feminine,
and like, what do we think about Divine Feminine? Like all those years back.
Yeah,
we should
I do remember
find
that.
those people,
get them on the Rapcast.
Yeah, like they're just like, who are you? Like, how did the fuck did you find me? But that was one where, there was a whole Sesame Street style thing with puppets. Throughout the show.
I do appreciate about that show, though, that he played, say what you want about Coloring Book or what you think about it, but he played every song off there, and it was for that tour. And not often do artists do that for their tour on the new album that they're touring with. Do they play every single song?
He played some of the hits on that one, too.
And they played the hits, and he played old hits, too. And he played a lot of his features. It was for me, it was really nice to see Ultralight Beam live. I know you saw it during the Pablo tour, but for me, it was nice to see at least Chance's part. But yeah, overall that concert was just kind of...
It wasn't the worst concert, but just...
I left that being like, oh, well, because he kept going, talking about, like, the message, this is the life, this is the turning moment in your life, something big is going to happen, here's a big message at the end of the show.
And you could tell people were just not feeling it, because I just feel like the audience had a low percentage of, like, people who grew up with the same children's TV shows and Christian messaging that, like, Chance the Rapper is always kind of echoing. Mm-hmm. It just, people weren't really feeling it. People didn't really want to sing along.
Yeah, there was the
and
point
he restarted a song 3 times.
I think it was Summer Friends, which is a song that I do like, but it was towards the end of the show. I didn't have it in me to sing my heart out on that fucking slower song.
And I was just boycotting at that point. I'm just
I remember you were kind of pissed off at that point.
I'm just waiting for this to be over. Honestly,
yeah, no, you were tapped out at that point. Yeah. It probably is the weakest rap show that I saw. I also will say I saw Shad at Sound of Music. That was like the second or so rap show that I saw. And well, it wasn't the worst show. It was weird because I went alone, and people were moshing to Shad, to a clean rapper, a rapper who doesn't cuss.
That's another thing. When people are moshing inappropriately, it's
it was very, very strange to see. It was like they're forcing the mosh. I mean, you can't force it. It has to be natural. That's something about moshing that is key, for sure.
though, this is not a worst rap show by any means, but
we want to talk. I want to talk about the Earl shows as well.
Yes, exactly. I was about to say it's like we can't really do this. We can't really skip over this because like that's why we have that
show that the three of us all went to.
Yeah, I think I've only been to.
Wait, we all went to.
We went to the Some Rap Songs show.
I went to. I've only went to. I think
it was actually, at fucking Rebel.
I went to 3.
I don't remember that
rap shows my entire life.
Whatever.
Maybe 3. But 2 of them were Earl Sweatshirt. One was Brockhampton during Ginger tour, and that was a great show. But the 2 Earl Sweatshirts, the first time I ever saw Earl Sweatshirt, and the first rap show I ever seen was at the Phoenix. And we were just coming back from the cottage. We had tickets. I'll let you explain.
Well, we had tickets. I was gonna go with my buddy Mike Cavitazzi. Shout out, Mike, if you're listening to this. You're definitely not. We had tickets to go see him during grade 12. I think it was grade 12 or maybe grade 11. During the school year, and we were about to see him, and then I remember seeing him tweet like he can't make it out to the show today. He was sick or the flu or some shit, and we were fucking pissed off. He didn't reschedule it until the summer, but he was away or doing some family shit or whatever, and it was during the cottage. And when me and Josh were up at our cottage, and we were like, "Well, do we make it down?"
No, it's not our cottage.
I know, but whatever.
It makes it sound like
whatever.
Pompous, you know,
but it's easier to say that than actually explaining what the fuck it is.
Yeah, it's true.
So we were up at the cottage, and we were like, "Well, I guess we'll go see him anyway." And I think at that point you were trying to weasel your way into the show because you were just getting into Earl. I remember that summer, I think, but me and Josh had already gotten into him previously. Yeah. So you were wanting me...
Earl was one of the first
You were wanting me... I just remember you texting me wanting me to take you to the show, but Josh was already there with me, so I'm like, well, I'm going to take Josh.
Oh.
But we go down there, and it takes like a fucking... It takes like... It's up in like Muskoka, so it's going to take a while, but it takes ridiculously fucking long because it's like a Sunday or whatever, so it takes...
Wait, so you're driving up from Muskoka down to Toronto?
Down to Toronto to see him, so it's brutal traffic on the way there. We make our dad wait there in the fucking parking lot for however many hours Earl's on there. He only plays I Don't Like Shit, I Don't Go Outside, which is a fantastic album.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite.
It was the tour for that album. Yeah. He plays all the songs except for Wool, though, and I was kind of fucking cheesed. And I also thought we were going to see Vince Staples that night, too. We thought Vince Staples was opening, but he wasn't.
He couldn't make it.
So
they played some DJ shit, and I'm like, everybody in the audience was so pissed. It's like, bring out Earl and shit. Everybody was getting real upset, but by the time, like, Earl, like, but that just made it so that when Earl, like, opened up the curtain, he was like, hey! Yeah. Everybody just lost their fucking minds, because, like, thank God we don't have to, like, wait here any longer.
I know, it's so fucking, like, boring. Like, when you just want the concert to start already, like...
And you're sitting there, you found your spot, you did everything right, you're there.
And the DJ is playing, like...
some shit.
Some bullshit song that's out right now, and people are, like, half into it, and I'm just like...
Yeah, and then, remember, the 3 of us saw him for the Some Rap Songs tour. Yeah. So remember, there was, like, the 2 female artists that opened...
Oh, now I remember that concert. Yeah,
and there was like kind of weird, like kind of stoic visuals in the background, and it was all just kind of a somber. Like it wasn't very. It's a weird rap show that you don't really mosh in, you don't really jump around in, you just kind of be there and you listen to the music.
I wouldn't say that was. I wouldn't put that as a worst.
No, we're not talking about worst. We're just talking about just ending out our rap. We just wanted to talk about the Earl show.
Oh, okay. Because I was that's what I was thinking. You were saying that this is
no. But the other Earl show wasn't either. It was just the circumstances were shitty because on the way way there, on the way back was just so.
Yeah. Now that you say that there was those 2, there was Baby Mother.
Yeah.
Who was pretty good.
And someone else before that. I don't remember.
Was pretty hyped.
Yeah.
I remember enjoying myself at that concert, but it was more. But I mean, you can't go in there and expecting that it's going to be fucking, you know,
a rager.
That was also the Rebel,
because it's Earl Sweatshirt. It's like depression rap.
Yeah, I just remember us coming out of it being like, we respect Earl so much musically because he can rap so well live and can doesn't fucking miss a step, doesn't fuck up his bars.
He raps other people's shit just as well as he can, and he makes it sound like he wrote it.
Yeah, it just shows how talented talented of a rapper Earl is.
Yeah. I just got overall really positive vibes from that concert. Just being just the 3 of us, the 3 amigos, just seeing Earl Sweatshirt and shit at the Rebel and just having a good time and shit. That's I have really fond memories of that. Some rap songs.
Mm-hmm.
That's one where you don't have to be that close up, or you don't have to be...
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to be as into it.
Just the fact that you're there.
He played like a sizable amount of his discography. He played like all over the place.
Yeah.
Played all... Like,
Did he play the song Epar?
No, he did not.
I think that was before...
Somehow I'm thinking or he played some like... He sang some like old school songs that were... Maybe it was one of his...
He might have done like Whoa or Chum.
Yeah.
I think he did Chum for sure.
Yeah.
What was his first fucking song? I'm a high love
Earl?
sauce.
It was just called Earl. He did. I don't think he did.
Yeah,
that.
Okay, maybe not. I don't know
if he would have, but maybe. I don't really remember.
Point is, Earl's fire, but the show was a little bit weird.
Yeah, a few other. It's just a weird artist to see live. I'm just gonna quickly go over a few other artists that I've seen live. We actually did see Earth Gang before they got big because they opened for Mac. Yeah. I remember. I was into Earth Gang for a while because as soon as I saw them, I'm like, oh, they're fucking tight. Yeah, but that Mac show was great. I saw Logic and G-Eazy show. And I'm just
that's where I lost my virginity.
That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
You showed up in a leather jacket in like a G-Eazy cosplay.
Yeah. Fucking slicked my hair back.
And you're just out there like smoking cigs,
I just
like
fucking pulled, man.
Just looking at, just giving chicks the old G-Eazy
eye,
the Gerald eye.
Yeah, that wasn't. Yeah, it was a weird show. I mean, it might be on the lower. It was on the lower tier of rap shows that I saw. I'm glad I saw Logic at some point, though.
Sidebar: they should do a noir movie with G-Eazy where he's like,
he definitely is writing one as we speak.
Out there, just like his monologues of him like thinking like, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like he's just on the balcony smoking cigs or whatever. Yeah. Halsey's in the other room.
And I will say another one of my favorite stadium shows, a rap show that was a stadium show that was actually very well done, was when I saw J. Cole for the For Your Eyes Only tour, and he had like whole like prison thing of like him coming out, getting escorted by security, like in a whole fucking prison jumper and shit like that, and the effects and the shit were really cool. What are you fucking looking for your fucking dick over there?
Oh, here it is.
Okay.
Found it.
I found but it was he made it really hype for he controlled the room so well for a show like that. And also that was at the ACC.
That was an arena show.
Yeah, it was an arena show. And I also want to...
That's one of the ones where you see physically how tall the person is. I mean, he's a big fucking dude.
He's a big guy. Yeah.
And I was with Tyler too. Like with his show, he seemed like larger than life. Like, and he was standing on this big. They had this
tree
crazy
trunk
set.
Shit. Like, he was on like
Arena shows are really, really hard to pull off for rap.
I will say about the J. Cole show too is that I didn't realize how fucking stacked that show is until I look back at it. Anderson .Paak opened for him. Boz opened for him. J.I.D. before he popped off for him, and Ari Lennox also of Dreamville fucking opened for him. So that was a fantastic. I didn't even realize.
How long was this concert?
Yeah, I know, it was insane, and I wasn't even into like J.I.D. or Anderson .Paak at that point, so I didn't really think much of them. I had heard of Anderson .Paak, and at that point I heard J.I.D. I'm like, oh, I should get into him, and I think I did from that point. But hey, I saw Anderson .Paak for pretty cheap, so I'll say that because I also bought tickets. I went with my old roommate, and we bought tickets like the day or like a week before, or whatever, and we got them dumb cheap. And my buddy Clay, shout out Clay, who saw him the day before, spent like way more money and got way worse seats. And I went to the show, and then they upgraded my seats too, so I got even better seats than what I was originally going to get. So that was a pretty good.
I had that same thing at Childish Gambino, the last show, where my buddies. I had a ticket early on with you.
Yeah.
But my buddies bought their tickets separately. I got much better ones for less money.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck?
Because I remember, I skipped class to buy tickets because I wanted to make sure they wouldn't sell out.
Yeah,
but that's the thing. StubHub and fucking like this constant reselling of tickets is a whole fucking bastards.
That's the fucking like economy of tickets and like Ticketmaster and shit. And it's like it's like the fucking Wild West. Like there's no rules.
Exactly.
It's bonkers, man.
I've never bought a ticket off of a scalper, but one of these days I should, just to have that experience.
Yeah. At least for like a hockey game or something, you know?
Yeah, something but I don't know if they really have that anymore. I mean, obviously now with COVID, like, there's no such... But yeah, Anderson .Paak is a bucket list. I need to see him live.
Yeah, for sure.
The future is wide open. It could be, in 5 years or whatever.
Yeah, you never know. But in a perfect world.
But definitely,
Anderson
I should
.Paak for
see
sure.
him because he's a
He's only
multi-instrumental,
I remember him
talented
playing the drums.
musician.
He's only
during
coming
the show.
up. There's no going down for him. He's only coming up. There's only gonna be
I can't
more
see.
shows.
Yeah, I can't see him slowing down or becoming trash. Or
He was going
anything.
on tour with fucking Earl Sweatshirt and Thundercat and Anderson .Paak. Were going on tour together, and I'm like, fuck yes. And then when it rolled down to the Toronto show, though, I think it was just Earl and like one of the other people that were on the tour with them that I didn't recognize. But it was like a 4-person tour, but it was like not every show. It was all of them, so it was kind of
because some of them can't come to Canada or like.
Yeah, because I remember also I wanted to see A$AP Rocky. There was A$AP Rocky and Tyler joint show, but it was just going to be A$AP Rocky. It was also Danny Brown and Action Bronson, who I didn't know at the time, but that would have been a great show too.
Man. That's crazy.
But I was more of a Tyler fan at that point, so I'm like, Tyler's not going to be at the Toronto show. I'm not going to go. And then Tyler ended up going to the fucking Toronto show. So it would have been an Action Bronson, Danny Brown, Tyler the Creator, and A$AP Rocky. Like, what a fucking stacked ass show would have that been? Fucking, god damn.
If you could somehow measure the value of that, like that would be astronomical. Like,
exactly.
Given what they all turned into, like later.
Yeah, and that was like the Allah tour too, which would have been fucking insane.
Oh, dude.
That would have been around, I think, Cherry Bomb maybe.
Yeah, I've always wanted to see A$AP Rocky, but it never.
I wanted to go to the testing tour, but it was at the Ricoh Coliseum, and I was like, I'm gonna get fucking out like shitty tickets. I'm not gonna get the floor seats, so it's not really worth it for a show like that.
I will say, of all the venues, Ricoh Coliseum, one of the worst ones.
Yeah, it's not that great.
Just the vibe is like not.
It's an arena, but not. So it's like,
it's an arena, but it doesn't even have the
it doesn't have
amenities
the room
of the ACC.
Yeah, it doesn't have the room for big concert theater type of shows like that.
No.
Yeah, I'd rather have either the ACC or the fucking.
One last word on concerts.
Coca-Cola Coliseum or whatever.
Yeah.
I saw Bo Burnham.
Oh yeah, shit. Really?
Yeah, out in London.
Nice.
That was one of those ones where it was in like some old school theater and with balconies and shit. But that's different because it's a comedy show. But there's a music element to that as well.
Yeah. I mean, Bo Burnham.
Shout out Bo Burnham.
Yeah, Bo Burnham's great.
All right.
About new music.
There's going to be new Gambino music. He confirmed that 13, 15, 20 is the first piece of a multi-piece musical thing.
Yes.
So I'm excited. That's all I really wanted to say about that. And there was news of Kendrick leaving the TDE, but he already addressed that.
Wait, so tell me the story about that, because I didn't read
it was just rumors. I think it was just like started on like some fucking subreddit or some shit. Because of remember the whole PG Lang thing that he did earlier this year? He released like some merch and shit, and there was like a video that came out. It was very like artsy and like spiritual and just kind of talking random shit.
Yeah, fuck, I keep spilling on this.
On the All Rights Matter fucking on the Alt Rights Matter. There was Kendrick's. The whole point is Kendrick started his own production facility kind of thing, so people were thinking that he's gonna fucking leave TDE because Dave Free also left TDE and he was like from the start. But then Kendrick posted a video of one of the fucking Blues Clues guy and of him just talking some bullshit saying he's not leaving TDE. So
I really think this
bullshit.
is like
it was some bullshit.
I think
drama.
it's like people get one whiff of one of the top rap groups breaking up or something, and then they get so excited.
And people are so hungry for new Kendrick, it's ridiculous. And so am I, to be fair.
I'm
not starting fucking
like
baseless rumors.
It would be sad if you ran like the Kendrick subreddit and we're just like trying to gin up things to talk about.
Yeah.
Where it's like, sorry, nothing's really happened in a couple years.
Exactly.
But
I mean, that's most.
We're still excited about this new Kendrick.
He's
supposed to come out, right?
He's shooting music videos right now. We've seen him out in LA doing that.
Okay, dope.
But yeah.
But TDE's strong. I mean, you still got Schoolboy and J-Rock holding it down.
Absol, can't forget him. He knew his new shit coming out as well. But yeah, new shit, new music. Let's do it. Yeah, we can talk about the 21 Savage Metro Boomin tape. Because that just came out. I listened to it once yesterday or 2 days ago, maybe.
Yeah, I heard it a couple times. Savage Mode 2. Mm-hmm. I enjoy it. I think it's fucking pretty good. The first song, Runnin'.
Yeah.
We get off to a great start.
The way Metro uses the sample is so sick.
And I don't have that much to say about the album to be aged.
I kind of was expecting more of a spooky type of Without Warning vibes in it.
Right.
A few of the songs were like that because, Metro Boomin... Because I also didn't listen to Savage Mode 1, so I don't really have anything to base it off of.
Yeah, me neither, because I was
really into...
I was thinking that Without Warning was Savage Mode.
No. Without Warning was Offset.
That's my favorite Metro Boomin produced project with 21 Savage on it.
Mm-hmm,
but that one is with him and Offset, I think.
Yeah. So I was expecting more vibes like that.
That's
but
like
I got
a Halloween
more,
vibe of an album.
But this one still had a few, but not as much.
Yeah, the song with Drake, Mr. Right Now, is pretty fire.
To me, it's good, but to me, it's a Drake song where, the beat's made for Drake, the hook was made for Drake. I'm sure Drake ghostwriter it, or his team did, or whatever. Like, I think it sounds kind of like what you thought about the Travis Scott, Big Sean song on Detroit 2 last week that you said. I kind of have similar feelings, but to Drake for that song. Seems to me more like a Drake song featuring 21 Savage, but alas. It's a good song, though. It's a banger.
I think it's a welcome Drake thing, but it's just because I'm not a super big Drake guy, so like...
So when you do hear a thing that you fuck with, you're like, okay.
Yeah, I gotta give him credit where credit's due. Overall, like, it's kind of a lighthearted album that doesn't have much of a theme to it.
Yeah, I don't have too much to say because I didn't listen to it too much. Oh, that's absolutely legendary.
Morgan Freeman really makes it. He's the fucking narrator, and he does these things about, like, what is greatness? Yeah. When two men get together...
is a fucking rat. Like,
they can create things that have more lasting impact than the world.
You can narrate our next album.
I should, actually. Yeah. Hi, I'm Morgan Freeman. But I'm doing a bad impression, obviously.
Yes, of course. That's the fact that they got Morgan Freeman on a 21 Savage album is absolutely legendary. Almost year saving.
It's one of those things you have to do something to gin up interest in your mixtape.
Yeah. If it wasn't for that, it definitely wouldn't be as interesting, or I wouldn't have wanted to listen to it as much as I did want to, Because I'm not like the hugest 21 Savage fan. I love Without Warning. I really like I Am Better Than I Was. A few songs off Issa album are okay. I didn't listen to Savage Mode 1 or anything.
Yeah, I never listened to Issa album. So. But
that one has
the
Bank
main
Account,
song,
right?
Bank Account.
And then there's 2 or 3 other ones that I remember listening to up at the cottage that year and being like, okay, these are pretty good. But I don't really remember too much about it.
Yeah, I'm kind of slowly getting into 21 Savage. Yeah, the main things are Without Warning, his collab tape with Offset.
Yeah.
And Metro
That
Boomin.
shit still goes.
And I liked I Am Better Than I Was as well.
Yeah.
Good album. How much money you got? A lot. How many problems you got? A lot. How many things you got? A lot. How big is your penis? It's small.
You got J. Cole and Gambino fucking featured on an album, also with fucking Lil Baby and fucking Gunna or whatever. It's going to be interesting, to say the least.
I like how the song Many Men sort of shows the influence of 50 Cent, like his lasting influence.
Oh yeah, that's the one that sounds a lot like some old school shit.
Yeah.
That's the one that sounds like the cover looks. Okay. Yeah,
the cover is deliberately...
so fire. I love the cover.
Like an old school mixtape cover with both their faces.
I love it. And fucking swords and flames and fucking
they've both got Lambos and palm trees and everything that you would want on there.
So good.
And the song Snitches and Rats was fun. I like the Snitches and Rats interlude of explaining the difference.
Yeah.
Because, it is something that...
the snitch is at least a human being.
People need to realize this. Yeah. And I feel like it comes as sort of as a response to the 6ix9ine discourse.
Oh, 100%.
And a lot of other things were like, oh, yo, so-and-so is snitching. Oh, everyone post L on their shit or whatever. Like, just these people who don't actually understand the rules of, like, that. If you're just a regular civilian, it's not the same rules for you as someone who's legitimately in a gang or affiliated with a gang or, And, it's like... I just find that that's such an interesting disconnect because so much of the audience for, like, people who follow DJ Academic's page and pay attention to rap culture are these, like, 15-year-old white kids who don't know anything
who just follow the mass.
And they don't really know the intricacies of what it's like to, like, the real street life is actually like. And then they're trying to apply all these rules of like, oh, yo, this person's a snitch because whatever.
And they don't know shit about shit.
And it must be annoying to someone who actually has, like, hangs out in the trap with killers and drug dealers and, like...
And snitches and rats.
Yeah, and it has actually knows the difference and has, you know...
Real life experience with that shit, yeah.
And that certain people are treated as a... I guess it's kind of the difference between, certain people do things for a short monetary gain where you can see why they would do that. Mm-hmm. And they're not necessarily affiliated, where other people just, like, legitimately betray their friends and their family, and for that they should be treated with no sympathy or regard whatsoever. But you understand why you would need to think that way about people, like, just to cut away the people who are gonna cannibalize you and shit. So I thought it was pretty interesting. Just as a sociological discussion about the impact.
Here's my question: do you think Morgan Freeman knew the difference between snitches and rats?
Yeah, I mean, he's been in enough gangster movies that he probably knows enough. He's probably hung out with just to do research for his role.
He's like omnipresent at this point. Yeah. He knows all.
I know he didn't write. I think it was Big Rube who wrote the interludes. Wrote Morgan Freeman's parts.
Who wrote it?
Big Rube, who's like an Atlanta guy who was on the He was on the latest Spillage Village album. Yeah. He's been in. I recognize the name. He's been in a few other things, but I don't really recall at the moment. I listened to the Joji album. Finally, beautiful. I really, really like it. It's long. They're okay. All right.
Well, let's not forget that he used to be a racist YouTuber.
See, we have a chance. Joji makes us, guys like us, have a chance.
Yeah.
That's why I fuck with him so much. And the song with Lil Yachty goes hard. Some great, more upbeat tracks, some really good introspective, just depressing fucking mood tracks. Really, really like it. No one here even gives a fuck, so I'm gonna move on.
I was thinking about something else.
There was a Travis...
I don't have anything else to say about Joji. I mean, 88 Rising is on top, yo.
Yeah, there's a Travis Scott Young Thug Maya song that dropped. Did you listen to that one?
Oh, MIA.
Franchise or whatever.
Franchise. It's pretty good.
I like the beat a lot. It's a little weird. Like, it's structured really weird. Like, a lot of the times, like, Young Thug and MIA go, like, back and forth and shit. So
it's kind of like a strange, sicko mode.
Yeah.
Inspired
kind of does have that beat for sure is sicko mode-esque.
It's definitely a very interesting, unique type of a beat that, like, sounds right with Travis Scott and Young Thug. I don't really like MIA's part, to be honest.
Yeah,
she's kind of like, sushi, she said something about, like, sushi chips. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't really remember much about it.
And then she's just like, shout out London. I'm from London.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a little
And
weird.
then in the video, she's like dressed up like the Midsummer
chick. I do remember that video. Yeah, for sure.
The video was very, like, okay, that's Travis Scott.
Yeah.
Props to that because
he's got a lot of art.
Ari Aster is a god, but
yeah. It's good to know that Ari Aster is
reaching worldwide.
We should do an Ari Aster concept album called Hereditary Midsommar.
That'd be just a nightmare.
Yeah. Well, no, we'll have a whole episode of our...
It'll be all about family trauma and, like, cults and,
Well, on our... we'll talk about all our family trauma as well.
And all the cults that we've been indoctrinated into.
All over, like, horror beats and shit.
Well, no, we'll have a whole...
Specific Ari Aster
for what it is, sound. Though, podcast about Ari Aster, for sure. Comparing him to fucking... what's his nuts?
Kubrick?
No, fucking Lighthouse Witch.
Robert
Eggers. Yeah.
Hi, I'm a film student.
Moving on.
From Ryerson University.
Moving on, please. I listened to the Bryson Tiller anniversary tape. Pretty mediocre to me. I'm not really going to be going back to any of that stuff.
Thumbs down, Bryson.
I really like Trap Soul, his first album, but I haven't been interested in anything else since. So I don't know what's going on there. Megan Thee Stallion, Young Thug track. Video is pretty cool. The beat is fucking hard as fuck. But the chorus is just okay. Megan Thee Stallion's just okay. Young Thug's part is pretty good.
That song definitely will go off in the strip club.
Oh, yeah.
but not in my phone.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear it at a party, but I'm not going to be the one to play it or request it.
Sorry that we hate on Meg Thee Stallion so much on this.
No, I said some positive things there. Maybe.
Well,
fuck it, man.
It's not that bad, but it's not that good either.
Yeah, no, the beat's hard.
Generally, I mean, Young Thug's just showing up on everything right now.
Great.
Have you noticed that?
He's always been though. He's always all the time he's been doing it, and it's great. Or something like more recently he's been coming up because I mean, he was on the Big Sean album. He was on the Eminem album. He's on everyone's album.
I think every album that we've covered, has had at least a big.
And we always say it's hard,
Thug.
and that's what we say about it.
It's because there's not much else to say. He's just
it's Young Thug.
Thugger. Thugger.
Short little Denzel Curry track came out live from the Abyss. It's fucking hard as hell.
I listened to that too. Yeah, he's kind of getting into more of a rock direction.
Yeah, it was more like Rage Against the Machine a little bit,
which I hope he does.
Political. Yeah, I know, because that cover of that Rage song was crazy when he did that.
It's so good.
And he's dabbled in it before too, just on previous projects.
He's also just genuinely a fan of that like really like hardcore rock.
Exactly.
Shit. As well,
of all the rappers, not just his style, but his performance, his like,
it's the most.
It makes him like the most well suited to take on that style. Unlike Machine Gun Kelly, who decided to go pop punk recently, and it's like his fan base is now only 45-year-old women who think that he's cute.
Yeah, or Blink-182 fans.
Yeah.
Hey. There's an audience for it, I suppose. Little Yachty dropped a Lucy on YouTube. I thought was pretty decent. I don't really remember too much about it.
Coffin.
But Coffin.
I like that he's
dropping
in the studio a lot. And working.
And he mentioned something about a deluxe. So if we get Little Boat 3 Deluxe, I'm excited about that because Little Boat 3 was great to me.
I thought it was just okay.
Yeah, we haven't talked about that really at all. Little Boat 3.
And we never will.
Because you listened to it way later after I'd already listened and forgotten about it, for the most part.
C'est la vie.
There was a new Anderson .Paak song. Did you hear that, Jules?
No.
Okay. It's kind of weird. He has a chipmunky kind of voice on it part of the time.
I think I heard a little bit of that. And I was like, wait, he's doing chipmunk voice now?
Anderson .Paak does not have to do that. Anderson, if you're listening, buddy, you don't have to do it. Your voice is pure gold. You don't have to make any sort of auto-tune or any fucking thing.
You don't have to be 100 gex.
Don't be artistically innovative either. Just fucking sing, dude. I don't give a shit.
Anderson .Paak X 100 gex.
Yeah.
I want to see that. I mean, how crazy would that be?
That's probably the most fucking out of left field collab.
And it'll be like the video is like two totally different style videos, and it's like Anderson just like steps into a 100 gex video, and suddenly he looks like some like weird lanky white dude.
Did you see the video for the they just released that video for Hand Crushed by a Mallet? Did you see that?
No, I saw the thumbnail and I was like, damn,
okay.
100 gex is at it.
It's fucked. It's fucked.
Is it, what, is it good?
No, it's just fucked. That's most of their stuff to me is fucked.
It's good is sort of the wrong word for it.
Yeah, no, you can't really say that.
Not
in the
to say
right
that it's
sentence.
bad, but
it's not good either.
It's something.
Yeah, it's not nothing.
It's not nothing.
It's not.
I'll give
nothing.
you that. Literally the worst thing you can say about.
Hey, if someone says that about our songs, it's not nothing. I'm like, oh, okay, good. All right.
That's like really accepting.
I saw a meme that said that was like somebody's Spotify playlist, and it was the 100 gex album and the Hamilton soundtrack, and it said POV, you don't deserve your fucking to have music rights.
The Hamilton soundtrack, God. If you have that on your phone, stop listening to this podcast right now. Kill yourself.
I mean, we won't talk about much else anyway after this, so.
Sorry, Corona.
There was the Reason album from TDE that I listened to recently. I didn't think it was anything too special. I liked a lot of the songs with the features on it. With so you got Vince Staples on there, Schoolboy Q, JID, Isaiah Rashad. I don't know why I said that so weird.
I thought you said Aristad there for a second.
Ari Aster is on there. Yeah, I like a lot of the songs with the features on them.
Young Thug, Robert Eggers, MIA has this weird part where she's like, sushi, sushi, egg roll.
Yeah, but to me, Reason is not interesting enough to really hold his own on his solo track. A few songs are okay that he could, like, of him more like storytelling shit, but one of the more...
we talk about Reason too much on this podcast.
One of the less interesting TDE roster guys pickups from recent years. Did you listen to the new, there was a Benny the Butcher, Lil Wayne, Big Sean album that dropped the other day? Did you listen to that?
Not an album, it was a song.
It was a song, yeah.
I did listen to it. Mm-hmm. And I saw that there was a mini controversy about Big Sean.
Really?
Well, Big Sean kind of has verses about where he makes some kind of he makes some kind of a play on words about how good music like fucked him over and stole his money, or like I got people who owe me M's, or people who have B's that owe me M's, or it says some kind of line about that or whatever, and people kind of took it as a, oh shit, this is, he's coming at Kanye, like, is there, and yeah, Big Sean probably is in sort of an interesting, but he addressed that on the album as well, the past album, about how he's good with Drake and Push, like he kind of has to play both sides with being in the good music crew, but not fucking with everything Kanye does.
I remember when Kanye tweeted how he's going to give back 50% of all of the masters for the good music artists. He was very much for that. And I also remember a recent article coming out. I think he did an interview with someone saying like the advance that he got from good music, like from his first advance, was like something ridiculously low.
Yeah, it was like $10,000 or something.
Yeah, something like that. So it kind of makes sense that maybe he also didn't get treated as well as he thinks he should have, which is fair. That's fair for most artists who sign to anyone, even if it is like an artist-owned label. There's still going to be people there that don't have their best interests in hand.
But I think this is but as like a little mini social media news story, it functions similar as the TDE thing about how once people get a whiff of that there's some brewing rap beef between people who used to be really close, they go way too far with it. And in reality, these people are just adults who have grown separate. And I don't see Kanye and Big Sean collaborating as much as in the past. And
yeah, me too.
I guess whatever. Maybe he'll be on the new album. Who knows?
He claims that Kanye co-executive produced Detroit 2.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so...
But there wasn't any beats by him on there or any features, or I don't know if he wrote any bars on there. I'm not entirely sure, so...
Right.
Maybe it was just a thing to say. Who knows?
Well, Benny the Butcher kills it, and I like that he's...
new album by him coming
Griselda.
out.
We should talk about Griselda for 5 seconds, too.
Yes, because you want to talk about Kanye...
because that's the...
Conway the Machine
I've
album.
listened to Conway the Machine's new album, From King to a God. Like, I'm still doing my homework as far as becoming a fan of Griselda. I've been sort of aware of the three rappers, Conway the Machine, Westside Gunn, and Benny the Butcher. I've been slightly aware of them for like a year now already, but then just in these last couple months, I've been doing my homework, getting into the past Griselda albums. And yeah, it's worth it because it's a whole like little mini world that you can go into.
And they keep fucking releasing projects. There's so many projects.
And all three of them are great rappers in their own sense. They can put out their own albums and feature on each other's albums, so it all just kind of sounds like one big mix of music. It's different from like Brockhampton or whatever, where they're one crew, they put out songs all together, and then only some of the members have their own independent music. Whereas the three of these guys are just really locked in and all have like multiple mixtapes and discography you can go, go past. And From King to a God people were pretty impressed with because it's kind of Conway maturing as an artist and not doing just songs on those kind of grimy gangster movie, horror movie type beats, but doing other types of music as well, and kind of dipping his toe into the different kind of styles of rap, and maturing as an artist, and putting out more serious kind of songs where he says more shit about real life. And because really, it's like what you want from Griselda. Everyone sees the totally like grimy gangster shit like that just sound, but it's really lyrical and 3-syllable words and like very complicated rhyme structures and just high level craft, but also very street and like sounds like it's coming from the mouth of a real drug dealer who knows like the streets and has all the knowledge. They're very extremely credible. Mm-hmm. Like they're real. Like they've been shot at and been in prison and like they're So there's something that's kind of what hooks you into Griselda. But this latest Conway album is where has a few of those types of songs, but also is trying to really expand as an artist, and that's actually his first official album.
Oh, really? Okay.
It's technically his debut album.
Right.
Everything beforehand it counts as a mixtape or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, it's good to see Conway the Machine killing it, and but really when I listened to the album, I downloaded also this album WWCD, which was just the Griselda tape with all three of them.
Okay.
And I've been listening to that a lot as well. Just going into the past and doing my work.
Fuck yeah.
And yeah, highly recommend.
Yeah. I mean, I've aired my grievances with West Side Gun particularly, but I have no problem at all with Benny the Butcher or Conway, so
you should
I don't
at
see
least
why
get
I
into
couldn't
them.
at least get into them, and then from there maybe, hopefully, learning to fuck with West Side Gun as much as you might. Speaking of, Benny the Butcher album dropping this week, so in a few days. West Side Gun dropped last week or 2 weeks ago or something like that. Also dropping this week real quick is a Static Selecta Joey Badass and Nas song, which is interesting, and I have something to say about the Nas and Joey Badass collaboration. Ty Dolla $ign album coming out next week with a single with Jhené Aiko coming out this week.
Okay.
So I'm here for
let's
it.
Fuck.
Dicks out.
Dicks out for Ty Dolla $ign.
Yeah. Last but not least, I know this is at the end of the pod, boys, so I don't want anyone to harbor any bad feelings towards each other. But there's an Amir Van song coming out in 2 days from now on the Friday, the 16th or 15th or whatever.
We want it. We're starving for new Amir Van.
The Rapcast collectively is starving. All three of us.
I'm gonna kill you guys.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get into that next time we see you guys.